We're in a war with bureaucrats that have forced vaccine mandates on us, mask mandates on us. And you know what? They're pushing this wokeness confusion down our throats now. And by the way, we should try Anthony Fauci and put him in front of a firing squad. And for the Secret Service, if they're listening, I'm not advocating we kill Anthony Fauci until he's convicted of his crimes through a court.
So just to be very careful, I'm not saying we should kill him instantly. We should have a kangaroo court and then we should kill Anthony Fauci. That's what John Bennett said, who again, I can't stress this enough, as unacceptable as it would be as like if he was running for state representative, I guess we have lower standards for that. No, he is running for Congress in Oklahoma. And thank you to Right Wing Watch for surfacing that video. He thought that would be a big applause line to talk about trying and executing Anthony Fauci, and indeed it was. They did enjoy that. He is a former state house representative. So I don't know, I'm tempted to say that he's not like a rando, but he is still a rando, even though he led the Oklahoma Republican Party since 2021. He's an established rando. He's just insane, or at the very least, he understands how to get elected as a Republican. And previously, by the way, there had been one man last July who was charged with threatening Fauci. Fauci has talked about facing death threats in the past. Usually they don't come from people in videotaped campaign events. But I guess, I mean, we're devolving fast, Anna. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of dangerous rhetoric is just part and parcel of the Republican Party at this point. This is what riles up their base. They are bloodthirsty, they are violent, they love talking about literally like murdering their political opponents. That's the era that we're living in. And so it's one thing to identify what we're dealing with. I think it's something entirely different to identify what the solutions are. And then once you identify what the solutions are and take a look at what the opposition to this party is engaging in, it feels pretty hopeless. It feels pretty scary because it would rely on, like we would need to rely on the Democratic Party to be strong and to fight back and to basically handle the Republican Party the same way they would handle Democrats if they were advocating for the like assassination of prominent figures on the right.
Yeah.
But we don't really see that happening. And look, we've had the intelligence community for several years in a row warn us about the domestic threat of right-wing terrorists. And when I say right-wing terrorists, I'm not talking about Muslims. I'm specifically talking about white nationalists and neo-Nazis within our borders. And what have we done in response to that threat? I mean, going all the way back to the Obama administration, he decided to cave to right-wing pressure and dismantle a portion of the Department of Homeland Security that was keeping an eye on right-wing extremists in the country. Obama made a massive mistake by allowing that to happen.
100%, yeah. And now it's become, this is not a thing on the fringes. This is now how you get elected. Like, is what he said any crazier than much of what Marjorie Greene says about Fauci? No, and she got into Congress supporting the execution of people like Nancy Pelosi. So why wouldn't this guy think that maybe he could too? Anyway, related to this, Dr. Fauci has only ever I believe wanted less people to get sick during COVID. That apparently is a crime worthy of execution. As of right now though, 60% of Americans, including 75% of children, are estimated to have been previously infected with the coronavirus. So that's exciting. By the way, infections rose during the Omicron surge sharply among children and adolescents. We're continually told not to worry about that. We will see if we now have a lifetime of long COVID for these kids to deal with. Now, there is some good news though. Obviously, a lot of people are vaccinated, not everyone, thanks to the right-wing media, but there are a lot of people. But I do want to clarify, that does not mean that we are close to reaching herd immunity because you can get infected again. Now, there was reason to believe that early on. People like Scott Atlas and Donald Trump, who made their entire strategy getting us to herd immunity no matter how many people it killed along the way, they had every reason to be worried that it wouldn't work specifically for this reason, but they did it anyway. And so have fun with that. Oh, by the way, measles is starting to jump because remember, when you convince people that vaccines are the devil, maybe they'll start to think that other vaccines might be bad. And so we might have the spread of things like measles and other diseases to look forward to in the near future as well.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.